God said to Abraham, "And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curses thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed." October the 30th, 1991. As President George Bush opened the Madrid conference, a conference aimed at forcing Israel to give up yet more land, a storm formed in the Atlantic Ocean, and against all records, instead of travelling from west to east, it travelled from east to west, finally sending 35-foot waves into Mr. Bush's New England home. August the 23rd, 1992. The Madrid conference moved to Washington, D.C. On that same day, Hurricane Andrew, the worst natural disaster ever to hit America, produced over $30 billion worth of damage and left 180,000 people homeless in Florida. January the 16th, 1994, President Clinton met with Syria's President Assad. The talk centered on forcing Israel to give up the Golan Heights. Less than 24 hours later, January the 17th, a powerful 6.9 earthquake rocked Northridge, Southern California, and was the second most destructive natural disaster at that time to hit the United States, behind Hurricane Andrew. March the 1st to April 1997, PLO chairman Yasser Arafat toured America. On the very day Arafat landed in America, powerful tornadoes devastated huge sections of Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi, Kentucky, Tennessee and the Dakotas. The storms resulted in the worst flooding of the 20th century. Arafat finished his tour and left the United States, and as he left, the storms subsided. January the 21st, 1998, Prime Minister of Israel Netanyahu met with President Clinton at the White House and was coldly received due to the fact that Prime Minister Netanyahu had refused to give in to pressure from the White House to give up more land. Clinton and Secretary of State Madeleine Albright refused to have lunch with him. Shortly afterwards, later that day, the Monica Lewinsky scandal broke over President Clinton's head. September the 28th, 1998. Arafat addressed the United Nations and said he would declare an independent Palestinian state by May 1999. As he said these words, Hurricane George pounded the Gulf Coast, causing $1 billion worth of damage. At the exact time Arafat left the United States, the storm faded. August the 29th, 2005, President Bush supported Israeli Prime Minister Sharon's evacuation from Gaza. He said, "I strongly support Sharon's courageous initiative to disengage from Gaza." Exactly 1 week after 8,000 Jewish settlers were evicted from the Gaza Strip, Hurricane Katrina struck the states of Louisiana, Mississippi and Alabama. 80% of the entire city of New Orleans was left underwater. Interestingly, the percentage of the Israeli population that was made homeless in the Gaza withdrawal was almost exactly equal to the same percentage of the American population who were made homeless through Katrina. Tuesday, the 23rd of March 2010. Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel was taken to the White House by a side door, given a severe dressing down by President Obama. There were no press corps present, no friendly photographs taken. And when Prime Minister Netanyahu would not give in to Obama, Obama said, "Well, I'm going to dinner. If you come up with anything new, give me a call." So the Prime Minister of Israel was left sitting there with his entourage. They waited a while and then went back to the Israeli embassy, finally leaving the USA on the 25th of March. And, just like clockwork, within 48 hours, heavy storms hit the USA, causing the worst flooding in over 200 years. On Sunday, April the 11th, 2010, the Jews remember the Holocaust. It's an annual event. 3 days later, on Wednesday, April the 14th, the UK Tourist Board told Israel that the Wailing Wall, one of her holiest places, is not actually part of Israel. Just 24 hours later, on Thursday, April the 14th, the UK were forced to ban flights as volcanic ash blocked airspace and stayed in one place instead of moving away as it would normally do. Against all known records, the airstream took the cloud of ash and spread it like a long finger down over towards the UK and then finally out across Europe. So, in the week Israel was told she cannot advertise her holiest site to tourists, and as Jews remember the horrors of the Holocaust, a volcano eruption causes European aviation to be deprived of over £2.2 billion of revenue and over £1 billion in tourism. Isn't it interesting also that as the Jews remembered the Holocaust and the ovens of Auschwitz and the death camps throughout Europe, God, in return, covered Europe's skies with ash. April the 19th, 2010, President Obama stated the USA will no longer automatically side with Israel at the United Nations. This was the first time any president had made such a statement, as the USA has always stood beside Israel from her birth in 1948. This year, 2010, the anniversary of Israel's rebirth in 1948 was celebrated on April the 19th. Israel was reborn on May the 14th, 1948, but because the Israelis use a different calendar to us, we use a solar calendar and they use a lunar calendar, their dates are always different to ours. So their anniversary fell on the same day Obama declared the USA would not always be supporting Israel at the UN. 24 hours later, BP, Deepwater Horizon in the Gulf of Mexico, exploded, killing 11 workers and resulting in the worst natural disaster in American history. And it may not end there, because there is now the possibility the oil could find its way out into the Atlantic and be drawn up the American east coast, finally spreading into the waters of northern Europe and the UK. But at present, that is only a possibility, not a certainty. Friends, after looking at these events, do you really think they are just coincidences? That the God of Israel is not watching over Israel? He's blessing those who bless her, and he is cursing those who curse her.